Hi. It's now time to read the second section of chapter 1, which is called Carbon from Corn. And make sure that you're following along so that you can look at the infographic on the photosynthesis cycle that's in there. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. It's just black coffee, so there's no corn in there. But I don't know about the glaze on the cup or anything. Okay, carbon from corn. You are what you eat, it's often said. If this is true, then what we are today is mostly corn. This isn't just me being dramatic, it's something that scientists have been able to prove. How do they do this? By tracing the element carbon as it goes from the atmosphere into plants, then into our food, and finally into us. You may have heard the expression that humans are a carbon-based life form. This always seems to come up in science fiction movies, but it's true. Like hydrogen and oxygen, carbon is an element, one of the basic building blocks of matter. All the molecules that make up our cells, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, contain the element carbon. All the carbon in our bodies was originally floating in the air as part of a carbon dioxide molecule. Plants take the carbon out of carbon dioxide and use it to make food, carbohydrates. They do this through a process called photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, plants use the energy of the sun. Photo means light, synthesis means to make. So they use photosynthesis to make food. All of our food, in fact, almost all life on Earth, can be traced back to photosynthesis in plants. It's more than a figure of speech to say that plants create life out of thin air. So the plants take carbon and make it into food. Then we eat the plants, or we eat animals that have eaten the plants. That's how the carbon winds up in our cells. But not all carbon is the same. Corn uses slightly different types of carbon than other plants. So by looking at the type of carbon in our cells, scientists can tell how much corn we have been eating. Todd Dawson, a biologist at the University of California, Berkeley, has done exactly that kind of research. He says that when you look at the carbon in the average American's cells, we look like corn chips with legs. Americans don't think of themselves as corn eaters. Our bread is made from wheat flour. We don't eat a lot of corn on the cob. We think of serious corn eaters, we think of people in Mexico. About 40% of their calories come directly from corn, mostly in the form of corn tortillas. Yet Americans have more corn in our diet than Mexicans. It's just that the corn that we eat wears many different disguises. How did corn take over America? It's really a tremendous success story, for corn anyway. Corn has managed to become the most widely planted crop in America. More than 80 million acres of farmland are planted with corn every year. Today it covers more acres of the country than any other living species, including human beings. It has pushed other plants and animals off the American farm. It has even managed to push a lot of farmers off the farm. I'll explain that one later. Corn is now one of the most successful plants on Earth. It's important to remember that while humans use plants and other animals, it's not a one-way street. Plants and animals don't just sit around waiting for human beings to use them. They use us too. The ones that can adapt use our farms and cities to spread and multiply. Corn became king of the farm and the supermarket because it adapted itself easily to the needs of farmers and food makers. It had qualities that human beings prized. Those qualities allowed it to spread and grow until it worked its way into every corner of our lives and every cell in our bodies. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.